Well, it seems like Brentford are now playing games. Another club to play games with, Newcastle United, as Vissa apparently is valued at £60 million by Brentford. Jesus Christ. Hi everybody and welcome back to the Toon Review. My name is Paul. This is your latest Newcastle United news. It's unbelievable. It looks like Brentford have changed the goalposts and are wanting for around £60 million for Yoane Vissa, which I find absolutely astounding. Where on earth do Brentford get this valuation from? Now look, I'm not going to sit here and say that Brentford aren't entitled to value their player at whatever they want. Of course they are. We do it with Isak and many other clubs do it with all their other players. But come on, let's be logical and sensible about this. You know, it wasn't a few weeks ago that Brentford had valued Vissa at £35 million. We went in slightly below that. Brentford said, no, you have to pay the £35 million. Plus, we need a replacement for Vissa before we do any kind of business. Fair enough, no problem at all. So when we go back for Vissa, Brentford are now playing hardball, saying, no, we want closer to £60 million. I find that incredible. Brentford have got a replacement. They signed that the youngster from Bournemouth. That's not a problem. They have got a replacement in. But Newcastle United are not going to pay anywhere near £60 million for Vissa. It's just unacceptable. And again, you know, we have to start thinking now, is this actually Newcastle United tax again that's come along here and that's what they're wanting, blah, blah, blah. I find it absolutely unbelievable. Now, look, Vissa is a very talented Premier League player. There is no doubt about that. He's improved at Brentford. He has got better. But I think even Vissa himself will probably be quite annoyed with Brentford that they've boosted his valuation, almost tripled to what Newcastle United were told his valuation was earlier in the summer. So this deal now is completely on hold again because, as I said before, there's no way Newcastle United pay that amount of money for him. None at all. It is stinking to the high heaven. And, you know, if I was Newcastle United, I'd say, right, sod off Brentford, we're going elsewhere. Brentford could get a decent amount of money for a player who is at a higher age than other players that we've looked at in the Premier League this summer or abroad. He's at a higher age. Nobody is denying that. You cannot expect to get £60 million for Vissa. No one else would pay that money. So where do we look now? Now, there's been reports this morning that Newcastle should turn their attentions to Vlasic. Now, look, he is getting paid, or was getting paid, an absolute fortune at Juventus. So, for me, I don't think that transfer can happen unless the player himself is wanting to take a huge pay cut, because there's no way Newcastle United will match his wages. And I don't think, quite frankly, anybody else across Europe will want to match those wages, apart from, you know, going somewhere else, not Europe, going somewhere like Saudi. That's the only place I could see him getting those wages. But Saudi Arabian clubs haven't really showed an interest in Vlasic at the moment, so he is in limbo. So could Newcastle United convince him to come to the Premier League? Maybe. Andy Brassel was talking on TalkSport earlier on, and he believes that Vlasic would be an excellent signing for Newcastle, given their struggles up front against Villa, of course, and how we're desperately trying to fill the shoes of a certain ratbag that's on strike. He's got a year left on his contract at Juventus, despite everybody saying that they cancelled his contract. That doesn't seem to be the case. Brassel said, obviously he's way too expensive for Juventus. They are paying him £12 million a year, which he's not going to get anywhere else outside of Saudi. I would say there are just a few Premier League clubs, maybe a certain one, who are having striker issues at the moment in the northeast of England, who I think it's worth having a little go for him. He only has a year left on his contract. Juventus have to sell him now. They won't be charging a lot of money for him. So he's not a free transfer. So all the news during the summer about the fact that Vlasic was no longer a Juventus player, they'd cancelled his contract or whatever it was, that doesn't seem to be true. He is still contracted to Juventus. Juventus want to sell him. But Vlasic has struggled to convince in Turin despite flashes of form, while Newcastle are actively hunting a centre-forward before the window closes, with Vissa also on their shopping list. Now, Vissa obviously won't be on our shopping list much more if he's valued at £60 million. So, for me, I mean, listen, we've mentioned Vlasic many, many times. He is a player that could do a job for us. There's no doubt about that. There's no question in his quality. And, of course, there's Ramos as well at PSG. Now, Ramos is apparently valued at £60 million. So you're telling me that Vissa is the same valuation as Ramos is absolute fucking joke. An absolute joke. However, Ramos has stated on a couple of occasions, and I think he said it again at the weekend, that he wants to stay at PSG. So I don't foresee anything happening for Ramos unless Newcastle come in and make an offer to PSG that is too good to turn down. Now, we mentioned last week that there could be a possibility of maybe involving Alexander Isak in the deal to say, right, what would you offer for Isak? And Ramos coming the other way. That might just tip PSG to make the sale if they could get Alexander Isak. But that would be a long, drawn-out deal. It would be a long, drawn-out negotiations. And we just simply haven't got time for that at the moment. There's no way we have. There's only a couple of weeks left now in the transfer window. Time is ticking, and we know we need a striker in the door. But I have to say, I'm disappointed with Brentford. Putting that valuation on him is absolutely insane. I mean, look, 40 million, maybe we go from at 40, but 60? Come on. That is an absolute joke. But let me know what you think in the comments. Now, one other story that has hit the news this morning is Sky. Their disgusting interpretation of Newcastle fans telling Isak he's a greedy bastard. Now, what they've done is they've edited the video to show the Newcastle United fans, or to make it sound like they are singing One Greedy Bastard while the Newcastle players are over there applauding the fans. So what they've tried to do is, it looks like Newcastle players are applauding the Newcastle fans for singing that there's only one greedy bastard. Now, everybody that was there and everybody that saw after the game what happened, it was clear as day. The players came over to the Newcastle United fans, applauded them for the support. The Newcastle fans gave them a rapturous applause, as they normally do. And then, as the players were making their way off the field, that is when the Newcastle United fans decided to have their say on Alexander Isak. So nothing was sung about Isak until that moment when the players were starting to leave the pitch, and the Newcastle fans felt that that was the right time to now start giving Isak some. Because it wasn't the time during the game or before the game or when the players were over applauding the fans and thanking them for the support. It was all about when those players started to leave the pitch. That is when they started singing. But Sky have edited the video to actually show or seem like Newcastle United fans are singing that song about Isak while the Newcastle players are right over there with them. It is a disgrace. And again, just goes to show what a load of bollocks Sky and TNT, all these TV companies are. The way they're edited to make Newcastle fans look like, and the Newcastle players applauding them for singing the song. It's wrong in every way, and we all know it is. But this is just typical of what goes on these days. It's all over social media now, so if you want to go and see it, go and see it. Because it's absolutely disgusting how they've edited that to make it seem like the Newcastle fans are singing about Isak in front of the Newcastle players, when that was never, ever the case. Just disgusting, again, from Sky. Absolute filth. But if you've seen it, let me know what you think of it in the comments, because I think most Newcastle United fans and the players themselves would be pissed with Sky for what they did there. Absolutely 100% be pissed with what Sky have done there. It's how dare they do that? You know, everybody knows that it was sung after the players left, so why did they edit it that way? Wrong in every single way. But anyway, thanks for watching the video, guys. If you have enjoyed it, as usual, give it a like, and please do subscribe if you're new. All that we ask for is that you hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload or a live show. And of course, please do tune in tonight, because we'll have a lot more to say on this. If you're watching this on the Monday, we're back at 7 o'clock with the live show, and we will be discussing All the Premier League events, of course, over the weekend as well. Who's had a good start, who hasn't. We'll also bring you all the breaking Newcastle United news as we continue to search for a bloody striker. Will it happen? Who the hell knows? But let me know in the comments what you think about it all, guys, as usual. But thank you very much for watching. We'll see you very soon. Take care.